So I know for sure that Periscope is going. And I do know that Trovo is going. Trovo. Trovo.live/The Hake Report. YouTube, D Live, Facebook. So we're live, guys. What's up, everybody? It is Monday, January 25th, 2021. And I will be getting to your calls, 888-775-3773. I have a lot of information for you guys. I want to talk about this interesting story, interesting to me anyway. We'll see how it goes, about this woman who got fired from the failing New York Slimes. And honestly, they should all fire themselves. It's ridiculous. CNN should fire themselves. Trovo does not have lemons, but they do have manna. Manna from heaven, right? Is Trovo ancient Israel? I don't know. I don't think you can transfer your lemons to Trovo bucks, but maybe you can connect your bank account and get the money from those lemons, get those pennies. That's reprobate mindset asking me that. But yeah, a New York Times lady got fired for, I don't know, repeated violations, allegedly, right? And the liberal media is all on her side. It's ridiculous. There's a whole bunch of RINOs who are all over the place. Some are pretending to want election integrity. And Rand Paul is one of them. He appeared on one of those Sunday morning shows with George Stephanopoulos, right? I think he's of ABC, I forget. He's a Clinton fanboy, George Stephanopoulos. Sleazy guy. But yeah, he voted to certify the election, so what good does that do? Like you go, oh, we'll let you get away with it this time, but from now on, please. I don't buy that. And I went on Reddit. No, I'm not a liberal, I don't think. But I did go on Reddit and I came across a pretty interesting story, human nature type of story that reminds me so much of, one, what Jesse Lee Peterson always talks about, and two, how these Black Lives Matter sleazy people and the Trump haters and people in general can get an idea in their mind about you or about whites or about cops or about Trump or Christians or whatever, and then they can't shake it. Brainwashing. Anyway, all that and the second fake impeachment and your calls, let's get on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, how is everybody doing? I am fine. I had to restart my computer because I think it might have been Trovo that crashed my Safari thing. Because I have a Mac, right? I know. Macs are... Apple is evil. But, yeah, something going on. Trying to figure it out, but it's fine. But I have the chat up. What's up to Shawnee Shay? Am I pronouncing it right? And all you guys, I see everybody's chats now. So, real quick. Oh man, I have a ton of callers to get to too. Hang tight, guys. Let me see if I can plow through this silly story first. All right, because I don't want to not get to it. This communist, and I'm calling her communist, right? Based on nothing that she's said except for that she's a liberal, right? Communist New York Times woman fired. I was looking at authors of this Politico article that talked about, the National Guard, how they were holed up in a cold Washington, D.C. Parking garage, right? That's got freezing. They were camped out there. And then all of the RINOs and Republicans and Democrats all pretended to be outraged about it. Chuck Schumer, that woman who lost her legs, whom I talked about in the past, a Democrat, female. I think she's like half Indonesian or something and half American or whatever. Duckworth, yeah, Tammy Duckworth. They all acted like, oh, I care about our National Guard, our troops. And they were all there, 25,000 of them or so, give or take, for the fake pretense that, Trump supporters are going to cause trouble with the inauguration. Because there were some Trump supporters, I assume that there were some Trump supporters who participated in the riots, along with that Black Lives Matter agitator, and maybe some Antifa people were there too. I'm not sure. I think I heard something to that effect from reliable news sources. Anyway, they were there. They didn't really need to be there, but it was like turning Washington, D.C., which is kind of a war zone anyways because of the out-of-control black crime over there. They were there, and then I think they're finally sending them off. The Capitol Hill police sent them away, and that's when they had to go into those whatever things, those camp wherever they could in the cold. They sent Dr. Biden out, which is she's not even a real doctor, right? Or at least not a medical doctor. Jill Biden, right? With cookies after the news came out. Yeah. And then that RINO in a wheelchair, Madison Cawthorn, 24-year-old guy, he took pizza to them and said, oh, you can go into my office. Cortez, Alexandria Cortez, the anti-American woman from my favorite food, by the way. The anti-American woman, Cortez, said, oh, they can use my office. President Trump, our real great president, Donald J. Trump, offered them, I think there's a Trump hotel there. I know that there's one that he converted from an old post office or something, right? And he took it over and made it right. He offered them the hotel. All kinds of people were tweeting and showing up and pretending to be caring about them. Well, the authors of Politico, I looked at their Twitter feeds, right, of this Politico article, because I'm like, do these people really care about the military? In fact, I didn't say, do they really? I'm like, these people don't care about the military. One of them, Natasha something, was retweeting these so-called journalists who were upset at the New York Slime supposedly caving to fake right-wing outrage, right? At one of their own. One of them was this liberal journalist, Michael Weiss on Twitter, who I believe he appeared on the Jesse Lee Peterson show back in 2015 when I was producer, March 16th, 2015, Hour 3, about his book, ISIS, Inside the Army of Terror. But he's a liberal, okay? He's all, New York Times should really reconsider this terrible decision. I'm astounded that bullying the families of ISIS hostages, falling for forged documents and taking a jihadist hoaxer at his word is non-sackable offense, but tweeting about one's feelings is. And so he's referencing to other controversies where New York Times didn't fire the person. All right, yeah, sure. Maybe we should fire them too, or the New York Slimes should fire them too. New York Times should honestly be fired. But I'm like, I looked at what this woman actually tweeted, and it wasn't just her tweeting about her feelings. So she called the real president childish. I'll get to that in a second. Based on her own false assumptions. Speaking of false assumptions, right? She put out bad information, contributing to viral fake news. Isn't that what the mainstream media is supposed to fight against? Viral fake news? No, they push it. And it's far more destructive because they have the big platform. And a whole lot of suckers are prone to believe them. Misleading others with her own imagination, just running with it. Fake news that is not corrected, by the way. There's people still repeating the stuff that she said, even though she deleted one of the tweets because it was fake. It was based on false information. Anyway, I'll explain it later. Weiss quote tweeted this woman's Saturday tweet. Lauren Wolfe is this woman who was fired. Lauren Wolfe, W-O-L-F-E, Wolfe, which is a tough sounding name, but it's not. She's pretending to be tough. Look at her short hair lady. She didn't used to have short hair a few years ago. She looked a little bit more like she was trying to look ladylike. But now she looks like she's trying to be. This is how she looked in 2016. All pretty, or at least she had lipstick on, and did something ladylike with her hair. Anyway, there she looks kind of hard, but that's from like I think 2012 or so. We're showing pictures of her straight haired. But anyway, she said, hard to fathom all the talk of cancel culture. You know how conservatives and Fox News talk about cancel culture. I use the term conservatives loosely, right? On my timeline, when I'm left without an income during a pandemic, I am not an ideology. I am a hardworking person who can no longer pay her bills. And then she tags different so-called journalists, right? I'm like, boo-hoo. Somebody's all, stinks, doesn't it? Because I don't know if this woman has participated in that culture of getting conservatives fired for being conservative, but give me a break, woman. You'll be fine. You probably have plenty of friends you can sleep on their couch. Not that I'm for her necessarily getting fired, since New York Times' whole purpose is to deceive people. I guess she's not a very good deceiver. She kind of unmasked herself too much, but they're all unmasked, honestly. Some other guy, Garrett M. Graff, tweeted, this whole episode with Wolf321, that's her Twitter handle, with an E at the end of Wolf, is a troubling and sad sign that the New York Times still hasn't figured out how to handle bad faith, faked, right-wing performative outrage. And yeah, oftentimes we pretend, or not me so much, but, you know, there's a lot of right-wing Twitter people. I don't know if Cernovich was involved, for example, Mike Cernovich, in getting this woman fired, but he's like always performing. And it's kind of funny with regard to holding them to their own fake rules, right? It did the wrong thing and should fix it fast. That's what this guy says about the New York Slimes, Garrett M. McGrath. So what she actually did, I got this from Vox.com. It's a far left outlet, Vox.com, right? VOX. Did the New York Times fire an editor over a tweet? Well, actually, I think it was multiple tweets. The Lauren Wolf controversy explained. And this is like an extreme left anti-American Vox.com. Writer Anya van Wagtendonk, who also used the phrase perceived liberal bias in the media. She used that phrase unironically, right? Pretending that the liberal bias in the media is only perceived. It's just perceived. What a phony. It's more than just bias. It's outright lies. But anyways, this is what Yashar explains. Yashar Ali, who's like an independent journalist, liberal. I think he was for Huffington Post. He might still be. He said, some news. Lauren Wolf, who was an editor on contract for the New York Times, has had her contract canceled after she tweeted about chills. She got chills seeing Joe Biden landing in his airplane at Andrews Base, whatever, Andrews Air Force Base or whatever, arriving to become like real president, right? I have chills. That's what she tweeted. But that's not all she tweeted. And it's ridiculous for a so-called journalist to have chills, right? But many people had chills about Obama, a thrill going down my leg or something like that. Isn't that what's his name said? Chris Matthews, he got fired for being white and old and not as off the deep end liberal, but he was pretty off the deep end. But she also tweeted, let me get this, falsely accusing the president of being childish. She tweeted, quote, the pettiness of Trump administration not sending a military plane to bring Biden to Washington, D.C. is tradition, is mortifying. She said embarrassing, right? Childish. So she's accusing the Trump administration of being childish, but she deleted that tweet when she later learned that Biden chose to take his own plane. And that's according to a couple of sources. Yashar Ali says this. He's the source on it. And then so he gave details about the situation. She's an editor. Oh, yeah. Remember that guy from Colbert, Stephen Colbert? Yeah. He is a so-called comedian, late-night host. He took over after somebody retired, right? Maybe it was Letterman. And Dave Letterman, who's a goofy person too. But Stephen Colbert, he said, let me just take a moment to drink you in. He said that to Barack Obama. It was so, like, made me question, not that I'm that interested, not that I'm interested at all. Made me question them. Joel says, I don't want to say it. But it was gross with a capital G. So there were supposedly other tweets that this woman tweeted that we don't know about. And New York Times, of course, they're not going to tell you about the inner workings of what's going on behind closed doors of the personnel matters. Yeah, and they shouldn't. No employer should. But the New York Times Guild, which is, I guess, their version of a union, said they put out a statement complaining about her firing. Daily Mail says everybody does this. This woman who's an editor, she's like a senior editor for New York Times on their website, right? Or was before she got fired. Their Daily Mail is a sleazy foreign outlet, right? New York Times cancels editor's contract after biased Biden tweets. And they make the point that other so-called journalists or so-called news anchors fawned over Biden and hated Trump. Fire them all. Fire them all. Daily Mail claims since Biden was inaugurated on Wednesday, and even before then, some media outlets have, listen to this phrase, relaxed their impartiality to welcome him and his administration with open arms. That's a poetic, which I mean to say like dishonest. They've never been impartial. And they're just mask off now with Trump calling them out and exposing them. It is. And everybody knew even before Trump, everybody who was remotely conservative or independent-minded knew that the mainstream media is fake, liars, liberals, hate conservatives, hate white people, men. Here's some examples, and I have these. CNN communications director, Matt Dornick, he tweeted about fireworks in Washington, D.C. on Inauguration Day. And he said this Biden team, I guess, this team truly understands optics. These images will inspire our friends and shake our foes. This is the communications director for CNN. And then CNN's, you probably heard on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, CNN's Dave Chalian, Chalian, said on Tuesday night, that Inauguration Day, that the long stretches of lights at the Lincoln Memorial to honor COVID-19 were almost like extensions of Joe Biden's arms embracing America. You probably heard that clip before, right? Ridiculous. And that's a male talking like that. On MSNBC, Rachel Maddow and Joy Reid were all laughing and jovial. And Rachel Maddow is that lesbian woman. She's like the star of MSNBC, MSDNC, MSLSD. She held up a big, or not that big. She held up a Kleenex box and said, I'm like a faucet. I guess she means like she's crying and sniffling and emotional about Trump, whom she hates, leaving office and Joe Biden coming in. ABC News' Brian Pitts. Brian Pitts of ABC, who looks like he's old and dignified, light-skinned black dude, I guess. Not sure much about him. But he actually said, he called Joe Biden Papa-in-Chief. Papa-in-Chief, like dad. After listening to his inaugural address, I thought from Joe Biden today, certainly he was commander-in-chief, but he was also Papa-in-Chief. He gave a speech to comfort the nation. I remember Chris Rock, I think, said, Barack and Michelle Obama are the daddy and mother of the country, and we should listen to them on gun control. Something like that. And I think he was talking about gun control. Ridiculous, Chris Rock. Al Roker, another black. Al Roker from NBC's Al Roker fist bumped Joe Biden. That's a black old guy, I think. Al Roker. Joke of a person. Yet he stays there. Another worse joke. Look at him fist bump. Two old guys. Goofy as heck. Al Roker with a white lawn mowing mask. And Joe Biden with a black mask over, just barely covering the tip of his nose. And they're fist bumping with their gloves and stuff. Looking silly. I think that's when Joe Biden pretended like he could run. Because he like jogged over to Al Roker. Because you see his wife way in the background, if you're looking at the video, to fist bump. Joe Biden, you ain't black. Joy Reid said on MSLSD, hat tip Mark Levin, right? They gave us fashion. They gave us celebrity. They gave us hope. I guess he's talking about the Biden-Kamala Harris administration. CBS's John Dickerson, who is a grown adult, I think he's a regular white guy. Well, not regular, right? Because he's a liberal media person. John Dickerson called the election result America's happy ending. I don't have a picture of him, I don't think. Even Fox News, which Daily Mail falsely claims was notoriously pro-Trump, which is false. There's only like 3 pro-Trump people, and so it's notoriously pro-Trump. 3 pro-Trump people, which is Ducey, the daddy, right? Steve Ducey? Is it Steve Ducey? The father. And who's that other guy? Hannity, Sean Hannity. That's 2 pro-Trump people that I can think of Fox News. The rest of them are not particularly pro-Trump. Not even Tucker Carlson. Tucker is pretty even-handed and fair. But he was more about just the straight truth. And so he would criticize Trump pretty harshly. He was for Trump. Let's be honest. He's not for the Democrats. Like, he's basically repeating what Jesse says. You can't be a Christian and support Democrats. So, valid. He brought valid criticism to the Trump administration that many people agreed with. So he represented the people, is what Tucker did. And Trump would listen to Tucker, too. Anyways, Fox News had starry-eyed contributors. Fox News contributor Mark Thiessen, Marktiessen. Mark Thiessen. Is that the guy from National Review? I don't know. But he said, we're a country that has been wounded by rancor and division, pretending that's Trump's fault. He was like a soothing balm for the wounds of the nation, referring to not Obama, Biden? Give me a break. So this Politico journalist, Jack Schaefer, urged colleagues in the media to rein in their obvious enthusiasm. But it just makes this woman look like she's just part of the anti-Trump, pro-Democrat, sleazy mob, which she is. But I think that she was not as slick as some of these others. And honestly, what the Daily Mail was referencing was not writers. She was referencing, they were referencing a bunch of TV people. And TV people get way more slack than the writers. The writers and editors are supposed to be supposedly more objective, which they're not. They're every bit as off the deep end. There's this guy who admitted, Washington Compost writer, Washington Post, Jonathan Capehart, he's black, and he admitted way back in March of 2015, I think it was, that hands up, don't shoot was a lie, referring to, remember the Ferguson riots with Michael Brown, when Michael Brown punched and tried to take the gun and all kinds of stuff to former Officer Darren Wilson. Former Officer Darren Wilson did his job, shot him down in self-defense, and Ferguson rioted very near St. Louis, Missouri, and everybody was pretending that hands up, don't shoot. And Al Sharpton said, if you're angry, put your hands up. That's what Michael Brown was doing. A liar. Al Sharpton. Well, Jonathan Capehart, black writer for Washington Compost, said, "Hands up, don't shoot" was a lie. But blacks are still victims of racism. What a loser. And that guy was interviewing somebody on Sunday with MSNBC or something like that. Just fake people. There are people who are going to pretend like they're standing for what's right. And I think that that's what's happening with Rand Paul. He did an exciting interview with George Stephanopoulos. And he's saying, I voted to certify the election and certify Biden for president. That's what Rand Paul is saying. He tweeted, partisan Democrats. He tweeted just yesterday, Sunday morning. Partisan Democrats in the media think they can get away with just calling Republicans liars because they don't agree with us. Watch me stand up to one here. So he's calling out George Stephanopoulos, who is a very partisan person. He said, I voted to certify the electors and seat the new president, as in Biden. Why did you do that, Rand Paul? He said, it's not about that anymore. They won't even admit there is election shenanigans. And I bleep that out because he said a different word from shenanigans, right? And want to pretend nothing happened. That's why I'll spend the next 2 years going to every single legislature trying to fix the laws, protect our vote, and stop election shenanigans, which I bleep, right? So Rand Paul, I don't trust that guy. I still call him a rhino. Some of you guys are more for Ron Paul, his father. I don't know about him either. Some of you guys were for him, though. And I respect that. I respect that if you don't disagree with me that Rand Paul is a rhino, but I just don't. Why would he vote to certify if he doesn't think that it's on the up and up? Why? I don't like his all talk, no action, right? All talk, no action. I respect him for standing up a little bit to George Stephanopoulos, but it honestly shouldn't take anything at all to stand up to George Stephanopoulos or the lying Democrats. Just stand up and tell the truth. People pretend that people believe Trump because Trump is saying it. No, people believe Trump because Trump is a man of telling the truth as he sees it. He's always been that way. Anyway, and they can see stuff for themselves. It's just, some of this is just a matter of logic. Anyway, let me get to some calls. Lines are full, guys, so hang tight. Crucy says, say the F word, Hake, you beta. As in shenanigans. Anyway, let me get to Howard in California. He wants to comment on some other kind of fake news, I think. Howard in North Carolina. What did I say this time? California. Shameful. Howard, thank you for holding. What's up?
Nothing. Doing fine. Nothing much. Just a rainy Monday here, too.
Nice. Yeah, it's a little rainy here and there. Over here. Very nice.
I just want to say that the Hake report is on fire.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You doing well today?
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, fine.
Nice.
Doing well. You know, Friday I listened to you and your show, and everybody's want to talk about climate change.
Yes.
That was Friday, right?
I think it was.
You've heard of Michael Moore, I know.
Yeah, Michael Moore, the fat one. He writes, he makes documentaries.
The very liberal Michael Moore.
Yeah, he makes documentaries, but it's really political propaganda, anti-American propaganda. Yep.
You need to watch this. Watch Planet of the Humans.
Planet of the what?
Humans.
Humans? Okay. Is that a Michael Moore documentary?
He executive produced it. I highly recommend it. It's about climate change.
Okay.
He shows everything about how climate change is really not what it is. I can't.
Michael Moore?
I can't believe he made a doc. I can't believe they hadn't pulled it.
Okay.
You need to watch it before they pull it.
All right. Appreciate.
He shows everything that is wrong about it, what they're lying about, and how much energy they have to use to make that stuff, and they should just use energy all along, and how much energy to make those solar panels.
Yeah.
They take coal and quartz. They say they make it out of sand. But I didn't know one of the biggest mines was in Spruce Pine, North Carolina, for the quartz. And then they have to use coal to heat it
Yeah.
to make the solar. How much energy they have to use to make that stuff.
Interesting.
It really discouraged that guy. He had a guy to go to do all that stuff. I guess he's too ashamed to do it. But I highly, anybody that says anything to you about climate change,
Yeah.
I highly recommend they tell them to watch that movie.
Okay.
They'll see what yeah.
Interesting, man. Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of what I was just talking about with these people that swoop in like Rand Paul, and I'm being kind of hard on Rand Paul. I almost feel a little bad about it. In fact, I
don't
do a
feel
little
bad
bit.
about it.
But these guys come in and pretend, like Jonathan Capehart, for example. He's a liberal. He doesn't tell the truth. He's not about actual truth. But I guess hands up, don't shoot was such an obvious lie that they had to say, oh, no, that was a lie. Just like this woman, Lauren Wolf, was an obvious anti-Trump cheerleader, right? That they had said, oh, lady, you're being too obvious. Never mind that all these people are being very obvious. But Michael Moore film Planet of the Apes, Planet of the Humans, was removed from YouTube back in May of 2020. At least it was reported.
I just watched it today, started watching, see if it's still on there.
Okay.
It was still on there today.
Maybe you watched it on a different platform, not YouTube.
It was on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
just typed in Planet of the Humans.
Yeah.
I thought that maybe they'd pulled it.
Maybe it was pulled and then put back. Who knows? I don't know.
Watching it before I called you, I'm going to see if it's still on there before I tell Hake that.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the tip, Howard. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, nice to hear from you.
All right. Take care. Yeah, I mean, Michael Moore has pushed socialism big time, and I think he hates guns, and he pretends that white people are racist. He's a sleaze, but I don't know, probably mix in a little bit of truth with lies. So look into it for yourself if you're so inclined. I will be checking Super Chats, guys. Streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. I think that's the only place, I think that's the only place that you can Super Chat me anymore. Although, I think Trovo may one day allow it. I think JLP is able to take Super Chats on Trovo now. Alternative energy is just as bad. You know, I got a text from Doug, one of the guys around here, because people were pushing about alternative, environmentally sound places of energy, right? Ways of getting energy. First of all, we all know that China destroys the environment way more than pretty much every other country, right? So-called. There are reports that wind turbines kill birds. You heard about that. And to make things environmentally sound will cost a fortune. And it's so-called environmentally sound. You heard about some of these batteries, these crazy ion and other type of batteries. Those things, they have to dig up huge mines to make the batteries. And then disposing of the batteries, too, is like another whole headache mess. So I think that this is just yes, I can get Super Chats here already. Wow, nice. I don't know how to find them. Hopefully you guys can screenshot them and email them to me if you give me a Trovo Super Chat that you want me to read. Screenshot them and email me, thehakereport@gmail.com, because I don't know how else to, I don't know how I would catch them. There isn't really a thing. Oh, thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. There isn't really a center where I can compile all of the Super Chats together in one place like DLive had. DLive demonetized us, guys. Anyway, let me get to Jong, I think is how you pronounce the name, a first-time caller out of California. Interesting question. How can we trust RINOs? Jong, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Absolutely. Good morning.
Good morning.
I love your show, by the way, so thanks for having me on.
Cool. Thank you for calling.
What, like, all these RINO Republicans, these spineless Republicans, why should we even trust Rand Paul anymore? Like,
yeah.
if you're of the mindset that election shenanigans happened,
Yeah.
like, what is the point of voting moving forward? Like, how would you answer that?
You
know what I
know,
mean?
I think you just vote for the best person that you can. If I were in Kentucky and there was no serious challenger to Rand Paul, I would vote for Rand Paul again. But I would try to confront him, because he's, like you just pointed out, it's ridiculous for him to admit that election shenanigans happened or that we didn't really even have a serious investigation into it. But yet he still voted to certify it. I mean, he'll give a phony politician answer. You just work with what you have. Most people, honestly, even the people criticizing him, are probably every bit as weak as he is. And they don't know what they would do if they were in the pressure type of situation that these politicians are in, right? Because we don't really know what goes on in the Senate and in the House, being a senator, being a House member. I'm not giving excuses. I'm just saying that Americans in general are weak, including those of us who are criticizing all these people who are weak, right? In the leadership. Yeah.
So I understand that. So, but I don't want him to kind of, do all this pomp and circumstances and be all hardball in confirming Biden's new, cabinet members.
Right.
Like, well, what's the point of being so hardball when you weren't hardball on, certifying
right.
shenanigans that may have happened?
Yeah.
So don't come at me, with, like they're just spineless, right? And that's my point.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think I'm gonna do what I'll do, I guess, vote, but in my mind, it'll always be if there was shenanigans that took place, there will always be shenanigans moving forward. Is my mindset?
Yeah.
So why vote? Is my question? Why vote? How would you answer that? My best
answer is voting is not the only thing. We push. We don't stop pushing for what's right. Like what Jesse Lee Peterson is doing, changing the culture by changing the people, bringing them to repentance, and that is more powerful than all the worldly stuff that the Democrats are doing to subvert this country, and the RINOs too, and outsiders as well. You know what I mean? The more we keep on pushing and fighting and never stopping, then there's a chance. There's always a chance. And this is the answer. You don't become tired or discouraged in doing what's right. And
So
that includes, I think, voting for the best that you can, voting the best you can.
With that being said, what is the Trump story moving forward? What is his story moving forward in terms of he's out of office now? He talks about primarying all the Republicans that betrayed him, or that might even betray him in the impeachment trials. I get all that, right? He can still do all that, but what is his story moving forward? What would you say?
It remains to be seen. I really don't know. He may it may be time for him just to be quiet for a while and regroup. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing what he does do, but the ball's in our courts, we the people's courts right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Say that again.
The ball is in our court now. The power is the physical power, the worldly power is not in Trump's hands at this time. He probably has some power that he will wield yet, I would think, because a lot of people want to hear from him. But I think that, Biden is doing what he's trying to do, and the mainstream media is doing what they're trying to do, and the RINO Republicans, some of them are posturing for, some of them posturing against Trump and what went on over the past several weeks and months.
I mean, wasn't there only like 6 people that like stood up against certifying, right?
Yeah, something like that. And it may have only been like 2. That's a good question.
Right.
Yeah.
And of them, it was like Ted Cruz. But you said in the past Ted Cruz is kind of a RINO too. So.
Oh yeah. No,
yeah.
he may be worse than Rand Paul. I could be wrong, but.
I mean, he may be, and that just kind of brings me back circle again. Like, so Trump goes out and makes the Patriot Party. I get that he makes his own, let's say, media company. Let's just say he does all that.
Uh-huh.
How, the shenanigans that take place in, let's say, China. Like the shenanigans that take place here in terms of the election. It's just that's not going to stop.
No, it's not. But there is. That's why I said that we can change the culture, because if we change the culture, there will be more men willing to stand up. And I don't know what's going to happen with the country, but if men are willing to stand up, then anything is possible. That's why I said with Trump, anything was possible, because he was willing to stand up and stand on the truth. And it didn't turn out like we wanted, but in the past it did. And it can again. But think about all the men who failed from let's go in backwards in time, from Mike Pence to the people in the Senate, to the people in the House, to the people in the state legislatures, to the judges, to the probably many election workers. Many of them did speak up, but many of them did not. To the people themselves voting for insanity. I know it's an uphill battle to get anybody to vote for sanity, especially with the immigration that we have now. But you just don't stop fighting.
I know you got more callers to get to, so I'll just leave you with this question. Like, what's going to go on with the lockdown now that all the Democratic leadership are in place in the government? Like, is that... that's a great question. I hear that they're opening some stuff back up to try to pretend to save some of the businesses that haven't been killed off at this time. But I don't see them really wanting to give up control. I think that they got a taste of the power that they can wield over the people, and they're not going to give that up. One way or another, they're going to wave their little power that they think they have around, and the people are going to comply, basically, except for the non-compliant people. And those non-compliant people, if they're black or Hispanic, they're going to get a pass. And the white non-compliant people are going to get the heavy hand on them. So that's what I see happens. Or the conservative in general non-compliant people, Yeah. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jong. It's good to hear from you, man. We'll talk.
You're the man.
I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye. Interesting. Let me get to Josh in Georgia. Josh, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Hey, how you doing, man?
Fine. Are you on speakerphone?
You know what? Yeah. Can you come right back to me?
What the heck? All right. Let me get to Keith in Illinois. Keith, what's up?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Nothing much. Are you on speakerphone?
Oh, I'm good.
What the heck? Hang on. Anyway, let me keep moving. I'll get back to you callers. Hang tight, guys. So speaking of this second fake impeachment of President Trump, real President Trump. Is that my computer? Wow. My computer is all hissing all loud, overheating. I wonder if that's Trovo doing that. Anyway, guys, they're trying to impeach the president again. And I always thought, I had heard at one point that you can impeach a president even after he leaves office. So I was kind of pushing. I've been kind of pushing for, I will get back to you callers. Hang tight, guys. I will get back to you. Hang tight. I was kind of pushing for Obama to be impeached, even though he's left office, right? Impeach Obama. Not that it will really do anything, but it can like bring in some truth and a return to like enforcement of our laws, right? Because this guy did all kinds of shenanigans. He did the Fast and Furious thing. He used executive privilege to protect his wingman, the DOJ head, Eric Holder, his attorney general. And they pretended like Trump had a wingman. No, Trump did not have a wingman. Obama had a wingman. But anyway, Chuck Schumer is the new Senate Majority Leader. He's the Democrat, right? Sleazy Democrat. Trump impeachment will be fair and move relatively quickly. Fair. That's a laugh. Democrats wouldn't know fairness if it threw them in jail, right? Epoch Times says the only way to bring healing is to actually have real accountability, which this trial affords, this impeachment trial. Because as you know, the House voted real quick to impeach Trump. The House impeached Trump without holding its customary investigation, no investigation, and no calling of witnesses to testify, because they just wanted to hurry up and do it. A 2/3 vote is required to convict Trump on the article of impeachment. Democrats and Republicans each have 50 members present. 15 Republicans signaled a willingness to convict Trump, RINOs. Actually, most of the Republicans are RINOs. It's just that these ones are worse, maybe. Even Democrats acknowledge it will be difficult, though, to sway the 17 Republicans that they need, because they need 67 total, right? 67 votes, that's 2/3, more than 2/3. Many Republicans and that liberal Harvard professor, Alan Dershowitz, though, they say that it's unconstitutional to hold a trial at this point after the president is already gone from office. So I didn't know that, but you're actually supposedly not supposed to be able to impeach a president after he's left office. Whatever. So there's some RINOs for and against impeachment. These fakes, right? All of them fakes, but RINO, Lil Marco Rubio, said the trial is stupid, and he's right about that, and really bad for the country, and he's right about that. And a growing number of GOP senators oppose the impeachment trial. Why is it growing? Why aren't they all against it? Because they're RINOs. They're just positioning themselves. By the way, some say that Cruz was posturing when he stood against the Trump. Did he vote against certifying it completely? If he did, that was just posturing for his own. He has his own. He's a phony politician. Trump exposed him so bad when he tried to debate the president before he became president, when they were all, those 17 Republicans all running against each other and against Trump. And Trump was a man among boys on that debate stage. If you ever have the interest, go back and look at the very first debate. And Trump was just genuine, and the rest of them were phony politicians, including Ted Cruz, Scott Walker, and all those so-called conservative heroes of the Tea Party and of courage and all that stuff. Scott Walker came out with some book called Unintimidated, something like that, right? And that's a great thought, but it didn't turn out to be true. He was a fake politician. Anyway, that's just a side note. The impeachment trial, by the way, it begins February 8th, so it's like a couple weeks away, I guess. Mitt Romney says Trump's impeachment is important to bring unity. Yeah, okay, Mitt Romney. Nobody that I know likes or respects Mitt Romney, including the liberals who agree with him, and probably including the RINOs who agree with him, because the RINOs are every bit as phony as the liberals. He told Chris Wallace, Fox News is Chris Wallace. Chris Wallace, isn't he the guy who said that Biden's inauguration speech was the best one that he'd ever heard? These are phony intellectuals. Chris Wallace was bashed by President Trump because Chris Wallace's father, Mike Wallace, was like this legendary journalist guy or something like that. And he was probably a liberal too, right? Let's be honest. But according to Breitbart, Mitt Romney went on Chris Wallace's show to say that Trump's impeachment is going to bring unity on Fox News. And Romney also said it is constitutional to hold the Trump impeachment trial post-presidency. He told CNN liberal female Dana Bash that on Sunday. So he went on Fox News and CNN on Sunday, making the rounds. What a phony. And dummies think that he's respected. Please. Democrats are running their mouth too and all that stuff. Let me get back to these callers though. I think they're better. I think they're ready now. They're black. Josh in Georgia, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Hey, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, you're right. I am black, man. So my bad.
I appreciate you. What's up?
Yeah, man. I really enjoyed that Holly call from, was it last week? And I'm not big on like politics.
Yeah.
I don't even listen to your show a lot, but it seems like that call in itself that explains the root cause of like what creates a RINO, what creates these politicians that are just phony, because it's like you said, you grew up, society was pressuring you to like go to the dance with this girl, get married, and then the women will come in, they want it really bad, they want a good husband, they want a good man, and it's like the women I've all dealt with, they want. I'm in my 30s as well, and it's like when women get in their 30s, they really want to get married, and have a kid. And
it's like desperation time.
Yeah, exactly. And so like that's kind of what it seems like. It distinguishes Trump. I guess he's been divorced 3 times,
right?
And it's like when people think of politicians. People only want to vote for they look at a politician's family life. They only want to vote for people who have the modest family type thing. I mean, who has he looks like he has the perfect wife, perfect kids, and it's like that's like a trick or something.
That was one of the things that we liked about Mitt Romney. I say we. Me and other maybe suckers liked about Mitt Romney in 2008 and 2012. Yeah, he had kids. His family looked nice. He looked okay. He looked like he was a strong guy. But it turned out no. I guess the phony Christians judged Trump. Meanwhile, they didn't know what they were missing.
Right.
Very true.
Right. And
interesting, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And it's like I don't know. I actually I joined the Mormon church before I found out about Jesse, because it's like on the looks, I look at the big families they're having. I was like, man, I was 31 at the time.
Yeah.
I'm 33 now. And it's like, I just want to have a family, like a functioning,
right.
Get married to one woman, have 8+ kids. And that's all I want out of life, really.
Yeah.
But even that is not like, you can still have that and still be wrong as the day is long,
Very true. Yeah, I noticed that a lot of Mormons, including Romney, but including the Mormons who support Romney or who hate Trump, they're kind of RINOs too. And it's not to say that other real Christians, I don't know if you call any of them real, maybe none of them are real anymore, but normal Christians have that phoniness too. But I noticed that Mormons have that they fall for that false niceness. I think they have a guilt about the black thing, because Mormons used to be against blacks in some way, I think.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have this boomer mindset of, oh, blacks are such victims of racism, let's be nice to them. Where Trump is just being real, and he wins more respect from the blacks than any of them ever could, because he's genuine. Not that he earned much of them, but yeah.
Yep.
That's interesting. You're so right about this. Oh, my wife is my boss. That's the type of politician that's getting in office, and it's rampant in American culture. And it's not just whites. I hear some blacks say, "Oh, whites have this problem where their wife runs them," but I think that it's the same thing with the blacks, especially the educated blacks. They fall for that thing.
Oh my goodness. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like we all watch The Simpsons and Family Guy, and it's like the man is always portrayed as the dummy, weak guy.
Yep.
And, if you start talking, if you're a strong man like Jesse, everybody wants to ban you and say you're, you're wrong or you're offensive or you're insensitive. And,
Yeah. Fauci.
I think that's the core of the issue. Yeah.
Fauci was so happy to be out from under the thumb of President Trump when he wasn't even really under President Trump's thumb, but Trump was challenging a man. Like iron sharpens iron, right? That's too much iron for Fauci, Anthony Fauci, the COVID guy. He's like, oh, it's a joy to work with a Biden because he likes weakness, and weakness is very corrupting.
It is.
Yeah, it's very evil. But people don't recognize it as evil because they think of evil is just the Holocaust. That's the only evil that there ever is or was. But no, evil is killing the babies. It's falsely crying racism. It's giving people stuff which only enables them to continue being weak and immoral. All kinds of evil that they don't want to look at.
They don't want to
Interesting,
point it
man.
out, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's funny that you got all that out of my call with Holly. But
Yeah, because that's how the women I deal with are like that. And like I see they mean well, but they don't. They want it too bad, And it's like she would totally pull me down into that, and like I would be a total Mitt Romney type guy. But it would make my parents happy, and it would look good on the outside. But like that's what's missing is like. It has to be the right timing, or you have to have that intuition to know when it's right to do it.
Yeah, you have to be committed to what's right, not committed to your wife.
Right. Right.
Or to
and Joel did a real good job on that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just said you can't be committed to people pleasing, which is what some of these people are. Right.
And like everyone's gonna bash you for it too. Like even Joel, like. That little snip that Joel made for Get It Off Your Chest Friday, where it was like bashing you and making you look like you were the come on, James. That's what society is going to do to us, But it was hilarious that Joel did that.
Right.
That's so true. That's what everyone's going to do. Like, come on, don't tell her pizza. Come on, make some white babies. But
that's funny.
That's just the way it is. But I'm glad you guys are doing what you're doing. It's making it clear.
Nice.
There's a lot of people like me out here, man.
Are you the Mormon guy who called Jesse last week?
Yeah.
There was another black Mormon who called Jesse like last week or maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I heard that call.
Okay.
It's a lot of black people I used to live in Atlanta, and it's like a homosexual type. It turned into like San Francisco. So I was like, man, I just want a family. Like where are the people that just want a family in the community? And that's what. I met these two Mormon guys on the bus, and I just started going to church with them. And it's like beautiful to see the families, but I saw the weakness in them as well. They're really good people. I'll always respect them. I have a lot of Mormon friends, but I did walk away from the church. But I still love those guys. But they're missing that little piece.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that. As men start to wake up, though, I think that can be a powerful change in the country. I don't think we have to be like, oh, it's never going to change. You don't know if it's going to change or not. You just keep doing what's right. So
all it takes is one guy like Trump to or one guy to just show a whole bunch of be an example for a whole bunch of other people, and that could wake up everybody. So.
Yep. Nice, Josh. It's good to hear from you.
Yes, sir. You too, man.
All right.
Keep it up. We'll be in touch.
I appreciate it. Take care. Very nice. So Keith, hang tight, man. I will get to you. I'm going to take a break. We're like a minute left before the end of this first hour. I will be back in the second hour. I'll touch on Amy Klobuchar, Maxine Waters, Mazie Hirono. They're being silly. By the way, some of these RINOs who voted to impeach President Trump or who smeared the president, they're getting censured. I told you about one of them, Mitch McConnell. But many others are getting censured, which means like publicly condemned for what they did wrong. Very nice. It's nice to hear. I wonder if the people censuring them would do any better, but we'll see. Anyway, guys, that and communist culture and immigration and evil Biden, all up for the rest of hour two. Hang tight, guys. I'll be right back in a couple of minutes. See you soon.
We fall Without your love, without your love, I am a ghost. Without your love, without your love, without your love, I am a ghost. Without your love, without your love, without your love, I am a ghost. Forever and always. Without you, forever and always. I am a ghost. Forever and always. Without you, forever and always. I am a ghost. Forever and always.
That's Without Your Love. What does it say? I am a ghost? Asks Detroit up in flames. It might be saying that. I'm not sure. That's John Parfitt, Jon Parfitt, Parfitt. Also known as Bright Lights. And people are making fun of it. Some people say it reminds me of Depeche Mode, kind of, with a happy face. Nice. Others say music is emo girl club music, says Neo Prototype. I like it, but anyway. Hake is scared of the moon landing like 90 going north. That's funny. No, I loved, what's that guy who did The Shining? Stanley Kubrick's work. This is the whitest music I've ever heard, says Millhouse 3000. Yeah. You know, just at the end of the first hour there, Josh from Georgia, the black dude, he was temporarily a Mormon. He talked about women and relationships and weak people. I have an interesting example from, I've been on Reddit lately. I'm going to read it to you. Hopefully I can relay the story and how the conversation went down well enough. And I tried to bleep all the cuss words. There's one girl on this Reddit thing was cussing. I think she was a woman. But first, let me get to Keith in Illinois, get back to him. His phone wasn't quite ready yet either. Keith from Illinois, thank you for holding. How are you?
All right, how are you, Jake?
Oh, man. Your phone's still awful, Keith. What the heck?
What about now?
It's a little better now?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm in this room and this phone act up. Is it okay now?
It's kind of in and out, but let's try it.
Oh, okay. I'm getting toward the window. Maybe that'll be better. Is that okay?
I think so, yes. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Appreciate it.
Well, I just wanted to call in and talk about a few things. But have you noticed how in the black culture they call people like Jesse sellouts, things like that? People that try to expose the Democrats or the immoral ways of black people. They call them sellouts, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I tell people, I say, now, what is a pimp? When he pimps black women that's, been touched by, a parent or a neighbor or something like that, takes a black girl and puts her on the street, and have a prostitute and get her on drugs. What's a drug dealer that sell drugs in the black community, that poison his own people? What's a dirty politician that leaves them in poverty, leaves them in hell? What's a dirty, crooked preacher that preaches one thing and lives another way? How come they're not called sellouts? I always try to figure that one out. Make sure you ask any caller that calls Jesse or anybody to sell out, why don't they call them people sellouts?
And those people are making money off of that type of stuff too. Big time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But, how come they're not called sellouts? It's just amazing to me that these people are pimping black women, black children.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're selling drugs. They're doing drive-by, killing other black men, young men. You know what I'm saying? The preachers are taking money and keeping these people in blind poverty and rage and keeping them in hell and all that. Why don't they ever call sellouts? I say, somebody need to explain it. So if any caller call one day, and I hope they're listening to me now, ask them why don't they call them people sellouts? I guess I want to touch on that, and then I get to another subject.
Yeah,
I just want to put that in your mind.
It's true. You look at, I think that's how Satan is. The people who are for evil, they make excuses for evil. saying, "Oh, they're doing it because of poverty," or
okay.
we're working in a white supremacist system. I'm doing the best I can." All that stuff. They'll make excuses, and then they'll accuse the decent people of being what they are. You'll notice it with Trump.
Right. You summed it up pretty good. You know.
Yeah, it's a
like
communist
Tony
tactic.
Gonna say, the police officer, they put their hand on the car. They were trying to smash the window. You see how he just blatantly lied about that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, they just put their hands on the car. They don't sit there and lie.
Yeah.
I know you hear me, Tony. You ain't nothing but a lie.
Yeah.
You're nothing but a low life and a lie. You part of that evil wickedness that's trying to justify evil and wickedness. You know, when he's talking about Jesse, kind of chuckles.
Right.
Oh, they just laid their hands on the car. No, they didn't. They just sit there and lie. These people call and bold-faced lies on Jesse all the time.
You know, people will make up stuff, and in some cases, they may have convinced themselves that their lie is real. And in other cases, I think that they know that they're lying. But people will make up stuff and repeat it and pretend that it's true. And it's, in some cases, it's not even an honest misunderstanding that got out of hand. In some cases, they just brazenly made it up and said, well, you do it too. You'll hear Tony. Tony will make up something and say, well, Jesse, you make up stuff all day, so I can make up this thing. That's how they think.
If you went to the penitentiary right now, and you ask the average black person in the penitentiary, they're in there for atrocities to another black person, murder, rape, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Drug dealing, shootings, stabbings, raping. And they would say something about white supremacy. Wait a minute.
Right.
You're in here for harming another black person.
Yeah.
Aren't you a white supremacist? Aren't you part of their mindset to hurt black people? Because you're doing more to hurt black people than your so-called white supremacists.
Right. Very true.
It's total ridiculousness how these people fathom it. And then the white liberals, if you bring that out, like I said, if I bring that out, then they'll call me a seller because they don't want me to expose the real truth because they want these black people to stay in this hell that they're in.
Yeah.
They want it. But they pretend to be their friends. Like Malcolm X said, the white liberals are not your friend. You know what I'm saying? They're just not. But I just want to get that off my chest. Thanks a lot, Hake.
I appreciate it, Keith. It's good to hear from you, man.
All right, same here, man. Take care of yourself.
All right, you too. Very nice. Yeah. Before I get back to these sleazy Democrats, I have to share this with you. I have been going on Reddit. We had a Jesse Lee Peterson Reddit for a while, but it got kind of out of hand. And I don't ever go on Reddit because I just didn't know about it, didn't understand it. And then any time I commented, I would speak my mind. And that's not very popular on Reddit. They're very liberal bias. And so you get all these downvotes. And you can't comment if you have a bunch of downvotes. I had what's called negative karma. I had like negative 25 karma, which is isn't that a satanic concept, right? Like a India concept, like Buddhism or something like that, or one of those things. Well, it's the idea is you reap what you sow, right? But people downvoted me, so I got negative so-called karma. This is a social media outfit, boomers. And so, anyways, I've been trying to work it up so maybe I can restart a Jesse Lee Peterson Reddit page, as if we even need one, right? But maybe it's fine to have. We should be on every platform that we can. Anyway, I'm trying to post a positive comment that gets upvotes so I dig myself out of my negative karma. So I come across this article, and this one, I didn't even care if I got, I cared a little bit. But anyways, this Reddit post says, today I messed up by taking free condoms from my college. I'm like, this sounds degenerate. Let me read this. And this woman writes, I assume it's a woman. I am no longer a college student, but when I was attending college, they had an event to bring awareness to STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, and AIDS, which is an STD. My professor at the time was offering extra credit if we went. Sick, huh? Talk about sick degeneracy pushed in colleges, right? So I decided to go, mainly just walked around, looked at the different setups. I reached a table that's giving out free condoms. If it's free, sign me up. who is this writing this? And I took a handful and shoved them in my book bag. Just carried those condoms in my book bag for the remainder of my college year. Never took them out. Not sure why, laziness. Fast forward 2 years later, get home and see my husband at that time, the boyfriend, really boyfriend at the time, sitting at the table looking very distraught. I ask him what's wrong. He proceeds to empty his pockets and dumps the condoms I had gotten out 2 years ago. With a stern look, he asks, can you explain why these were in your book bag? Wow, sneaky spying boyfriend, huh? Anyway, we haven't used condoms since 2013, so I guess she was having sex with her boyfriend. Very degenerate, huh? I can't help myself as I start to crack up, realize what's happening. He didn't seem amused. Eventually, he started to chuckle a little. I go on to explain. We both end up having a good laugh about it. He says that he didn't find them, the cat did. And then she died, or she laughed. So she took some free condoms from her college. Her husband, then boyfriend, found them 2 years later. She had some explaining to do since they hadn't used condoms. Sluts and slut makers since 2013. So anyways, I'm like, that's gross. But then, and degenerate, right? Degenerate college professor, degenerate college, degenerate pushing out condoms. Ridiculous. So anyways, this guy says, happened to me with my wife. She never believed me. I was like, whoa. And some guy's, oh, you mean the ex-wife? And he said, actually, you're right. She broke up with you over it? And he said, why are you assuming that she ended it with me? I'm the one who put an end to our over 11 years marriage. And yes, her borderline pathological jealousy was one of the reasons. So the plot thickens. This guy actually divorced his wife because she was endlessly suspicious of him. Interesting, huh? He said, you get to the decision, parting ways, over a long process, not a one-event decision. Just like getting married, getting divorced is a decision that draws a lot of consequences in your life. The life of your partner. So this guy makes me think that his wife is really a husband. But anyways, no, I'm kidding. It just snaps. She was certain I was cheating on her while I wasn't. I have been faithful to her during my whole relationship with her, before and during the marriage. What about after, buddy? But everybody has his own insecurities, and we never could work it out, he said. And so I'm like, wow, she was certain that he was cheating when he wasn't. And I hear Jesse Lee Peterson reference this a lot, where the woman will assume or get in her head that the husband is cheating because whatever reason, Satan says it. And she believes it. So I'm like, that is so common. Once a person gets an idea about you, they never believe the truth. But hold on to that accusation, thinking they're right. And I call it insecurity of human nature, gone to extremes. But I was going to say, like, women. And I was also going to say, that's how Black Lives Matter is. Once they get the idea of whites being whatever, racist, they assume the worst about you. And they have no clue what they're talking about or thinking. Same thing with what they do with the Trump. They just, oh, Trump had this call with Ukraine. Ooh, it was so bad. I don't believe that any of them really believed it, but some of them just believe the worst in what Trump says. About the Mexicans, right? Mexico is not sending their best. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. Trump said all Mexicans are rapists, is what the female mindset, angry, judgmental, anti-Trump, anti-white attitude is. Anti-truth attitude, really. So then this woman responds to me, I'm assuming it's a woman, Baby Miles 123, on Reddit, after I said that about once a person gets a bad idea about you. Somebody says, that's why it's important to be super honest. You break that trust. Once you break that trust, it's lost. It's more believable if you've always been authentic and transparent. That's the way to go. And that's like that common fake wisdom where the woman says, tell me everything. Tell me. And so I'm like, well, actually, to be like that Reddit guy, I said, to be honest, I think being too honest or sharing too much, which is what also Jesse Lee Peterson says, is if you do something or you have a weakness, don't share your weaknesses with your wife or with anybody. Being too honest or sharing too much information can be counterproductive for trust. Because there's wisdom in hiding your shame. And honestly, there's some stuff that people aren't ashamed of that they should be, but they're too dumb. And I'll get to that. I have somebody who commented under me who said that she's not ashamed. But people so-called confess their sins to one another, right? Thinking that that's what it means in the Bible. Confess your sins one to another. So they confess the dirtiest, weirdest stuff to each other, and they feel better about it. And so they feel better about continuing doing it. Being like, oh, we all continue to sin. Or else the people judge them forever even after they've changed. And so a couple of people responded to me and confirmed what Jesse Lee Peterson has been saying about don't share your stuff. This guy, Stumpfenhammer, said, I agree about not sharing too much, right? He said, my ex-girlfriend expressed to me in the beginning of our relationship that the truth was the thing she valued the most. So I told her about one infidelity that I've ever had in a prior relationship, right? Meaning he cheated on a prior girlfriend, I guess. She was never able to let that go, despite the fact that she'd also been unfaithful once. She had cheated on a boyfriend, or whatever, who knows, with Reddit people. We tried to make our relationship work for years. I gave up contact with my female friends, went out of my way not to even look at other women, etc. But ultimately, she always referenced back to that admission as to why she couldn't trust me. It was a shame. She was a great person other than that. Dude, you dodged a bullet. Be happy. Isn't that interesting? And then another woman, I assume it's a woman, Nikki Bones. Nick KKK E Bones. Interesting username. I think it's a woman, actually. And a cussing woman, by the way. Hindsight is a B. With that said, you're right about not sharing too much. It doesn't even have to be things you're ashamed of. So this person is not even ashamed. I'm not ashamed of my past, regardless of how bad my decisions were. But I'm learning that my life would be a lot better had I not disclosed those things I did. I felt better by talking about it, but it came around full circle and absolutely ruined my life. I wonder if her life was really ruined. Not because I feel like I could do it again, but because it made my SO, which I think is short for significant other, right? On Reddit, that's what that means. Think that I'm still the same PO piece of blank person that I was, even though he never knew me as that person. Kind of messed up, really, but cuss word. Isn't that interesting? The worldly Reddit people confirming what JLP says. You find some interesting things on social media. I just had to share that with you. It's so funny to me. Anyway, let me get to some calls, and then I'll talk about these sleazy Democrats about the truth. Maze, my favorite caller in Dayton, Ohio, wants to talk about the difference between liberal and conservative. This should be mildly interesting. Maybe. What's up, Maze?
Hello, James.
Hey.
You said a liberal and a conservative. Now, aren't they married to each other, some of those people that you keep naming?
Yeah, so true. To be honest, the so-called conservative males who are married to liberal women, I don't think that those males are actually conservative. And I'm going to use Jesse Lee Peterson's to reference him. Yeah. Again, strict definition of a conservative versus a liberal. A liberal has anger. A conservative does not have anger. So we have hardly any conservatives in this country.
Really?
Yes. Why are you laughing?
And you believe that?
Yeah. Isn't that a great clarification?
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I mean, then you have one say, I used to be a Democrat, now I'm a Republican.
Right.
So
but they're still liberals.
You have some people that never been a Democrat or a Republican, and they have the most joy. So I don't understand. And then you hear...
Name me one fence sitter who has joy.
I do.
Oh, please. You take joy.
All the time.
You take joy in getting under the skin of males and whites.
Oh, see, y'all have a joy of talking about women and strength. A weak man will not respect a woman. You know, the one that call themselves strong, they don't do what
women aren't supposed to be respected.
They don't? Oh, okay. That's what you say. As you said, they're not supposed to.
No,
And that's supposed to
I
make
mean,
you
the
what?
point is women need love. They don't need all this respect.
Well, then,
All this propping up as if they have to be respectable to be respected. I mean, you respect them as fellow human beings, but you don't be like, respect women. These people who are pushing respect for women, they don't respect anybody. Anyway.
But James,
Yeah.
as I say, when that young lady called you the other day and said she was looking for, she had found her helpmate. Was she trying
Helpmate?
to make you? Yes, her helpmate. You know what that
She
is?
did not say helpmate, Maze. You're putting words in.
That's where it goes. You don't have one, so that's what I'm going to call it, your helpmate.
So you think that a husband is a helpmate to a wife?
No, she said she found, no, a wife is a helpmate to her husband.
Right.
Get it right. If you don't have one, you can't
How
have
come you said that she found her helpmate? Are you trying to imply that I'm going to be a helpmate to a woman?
No, she's going to be your helpmate.
Okay. But that's not true.
But I said if they get together, I will come to the wedding. I'd be ready to be at the wedding.
You would come to my wedding?
I sure would.
How come you don't come to church?
What have I got to come to church for?
Because you love us.
Really? You can love people, but you don't have to do what they do. Do you?
You don't have to do what we do. You can still come to church and not do what we do. Atheists come to church.
It's just like when you hear the people calling like, well, black people commit crime, black people sell drugs. Did they know, just like a liberal and a conservative, that Caucasian people do drugs just like and go to jail, but they don't get the same sentences everybody do? If everybody got the same, it's just like I said, why did Lil Wayne get
That's not exactly true, Maze. That's a distortion of reality.
That's the thing.
That's cherry-picked facts. You need to bring in some alternative facts to bring in the bigger picture.
Can I finish, James?
Yeah.
I said, why did Lil Wayne get pardoned? He committed a crime. His butt should have been going to jail.
Because President Trump loves black people, and he always has.
If you say so.
He does.
If you say so. George Washington loved black people, too.
Nice.
But not the ones you think he loved.
He loves all
a whole lot
people.
of them love. Like, he loved Omarosa, too. But he called her a dog.
But Omarosa is a piece of work. She was a dog. Wasn't she called? Did he call her a dog?
Would you call a man that had one wife all of his life or had three within his life, and she never died?
You never know.
So what did you call that, a strong man or a weak one?
You have to catch them in the moment and see what they are.
Stop thinking and breathing. Think and breathe and give me an answer, please.
So President Trump was weak when he was divorcing and remarrying. That's weak.
Okay.
But
so he's been weak in his life?
He is a strong man.
Really?
Yeah, because you can overcome your past.
Because you put people in agony.
Hey, Maze, can you overcome your past?
Excuse me?
Can a man overcome his
it'll
past?
always be with you.
But can he be weak at one point and then strong when he wakes up?
Not 3 times. If it's 3 times.
No, I'm asking you, can a man marry 3 times, be weak, and then become strong later in life?
No.
You don't know. You just hate men.
I don't hate men. I love men because I hate one myself.
You hate Trump?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do, because you think he's weak when he's clearly... Trump is clearly strong.
James, is there a difference between someone hating what somebody do or hating the person? Is there a difference?
No, there's not.
We know you hated Obama.
I don't think that there's any difference between hating what they do and hating the person.
We know you hated Obama, but you still haven't given a reason why you hated Obama.
I've given plenty of reasons for why Obama was evil, but
no,
why are you changing the subject?
I said you hated him. It's just like they hate Kamala, but they don't know why.
No, but Obama was phony. A lot people had reasons. People had fake. Hold on, Mace. First of all, you're right. There is never a reason to hate, no matter how evil a person is. And Obama was pure evil, and that's why he was hated. But that's not a good reason to hate the evil.
That's what I'm saying. So that means you got to hate somebody just because you don't like.
But you're pretending that Obama was this innocent person, and he was not.
You're pretending that Trump is an innocent person, and he was not.
Yes, he is.
In your mind.
Thank you.
Like you say, in your mind, you can fix your mind to make you think that. But when the
best
thing before
president ever. King of Hueco says Trump is the best president ever.
Before he became president, his past is still with him, and it's coming back to haunt him. Oh, yes, it is.
No, it's only in your mind. Only in your mind, Maze. Your dirty mind. You're the dirty-minded woman.
Let's get back to where we were going, James. Stop trying to wave off the road. Stay on it. And then when you have the black callers call in.
She's acting like she can guide me.
No, I'm not guiding you. I'm just saying we're staying with the subject. So if he had a past before he became president, and it's that same past that's still after him, and one day you're going to have to...
It's not after him. Only in your people's minds. You guys are the ones who are bringing it up.
And one day you're going to have to give up for your sins that you committed? Or your laws that you broke?
Supposedly.
Bill Clinton had a past.
And honestly, Mays, his past is affecting him in the sense that it's affecting his children. Because,
No,
you know,
his children
Don Jr. is getting
Well,
with
what
an
did they
older
do?
woman after having kids with his wife, and it's a mess. So,
It's affecting
and his daughter turned Jewish and turned liberal, and his daughter and son-in-law are liberals. And so it's a big mess. But Trump, the man, is
all of them
doing
are
what's right
men,
now.
I guess.
Anyway, you
But
have
anyway,
no
as I
point,
was
Mays.
saying, when you hear the blacks calling in saying what we don't say about the community, is that, like I say, we have the same. I don't do drugs, never been to jail, don't plan on doing any drugs, never been a deal
You still
or
hate whites.
whatever, and I don't plan on breaking the law.
You still hate white people.
Excuse me?
You still hate white people.
If you say I hate white people, that's in your mind. We'll put it there.
And if Trump is not a strong
It's
man,
valid
that's
that I
in
can
your
find.
mind.
I can hate what people do and not hate the people.
Nuh-uh. No, you can't.
Can you do
Nope.
that? Yes,
That's
you
not
can.
true. Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
yes, you can.
Nope. That's false.
So you
No,
can't take...
Mays, you cannot hate the thing that they do and not hate them too. Because
No,
if you
you
hate,
can't.
that's all you have, according to
Yeah.
JLP, and I think he's right about that point.
You do things I don't like, but do I mean I hate you? No. Is that make
Thank you, Mays.
If I hated you, I wouldn't have nothing to do
Willie
with you.
Palomino says Mays
Y'all gotta
needs to
get
sit
to-
down.
Y'all got
Mays, you need to sit down.
No, I'm standing up.
No, you got to sit down.
As I was saying, a liberal and a conservative marry each other. They hang together and do different things. Because every day is somebody on here that you dislike something that they did that's in the same party that you were in, and you're having a fit about it. Mitch McConnell was one. Then I don't know who will be next week because it's always somebody.
I mean, we all
So do
know
you
that
hate
most
them?
of the
Do you hate
Republicans
what
are
they're doing?
rhinos.
So when I hear the brothers
Republicans
calling
in name only. They are rhinos.
But when I hear your brothers-
they don't stand on what's right. Thank you,
when I
Mays.
hear your brother, let me finish, James. Your brothers are standing behind the door. They come in with this rhetoric that they come in saying how we think is not happening.
You've never heard my brothers.
We want equal justice under the law
Okay.
and everything else. So tell them that and ask them have they been to jail.
You
when they
don't
come.
believe in equal justice.
Yes, I
You
do.
believe in special treatment.
No, I don't believe in special.
Yes, you
what
do.
kind of special treatment? I never wanted any special treatment. For
Anyway, I got to go.
when I spend my dollar, I like just like you spend yours.
All
I
right.
spend mine.
Thank
and I
you.
want the same treatment that I get for spending my dollar just like you do.
Nice to hear from you, Mays. Have a good
All
one.
right, have a good one.
All right. Let me get to Chris, a first-time caller in Inglewood, California. Talking about Biden. Did you hear that he's bringing back transgenders to the military? Chris, what's up?
Hey there, Hake, how you doing, sir, with the good hair?
I'm doing well. It's good to hear from you, man.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. So, real quick, man, how you feel about our military now having to pay for people to transition in the military? I mean, Biden, I don't want to say I hate him because,
Right.
love and hate can't exist in the same body. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
You either have all of one or you have all of the other.
Yep.
It's like light and darkness can't be in the same place at the same time. But so Biden, he out here done reverse Trump's ban on transgenders in the military. I just want to know what you think about that.
I think it's evil. In fact, I know it's evil because it's, number one, it's weakening the military. Number two, it's affirming something that's wrong and twisted and bad for the transgender person themselves as something that's fine and right. And you know who else is behind it? Who's supporting it? Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, the first black Pentagon chief. He said last week that I truly believe that if you're fit and qualified to serve and you can maintain the standards, that you should be allowed to serve. And he's referring to transgenders in the troops. And it's back to the Obama times. And Obama was just about what the communists are for. And that's what it is. It's hiding and covering truth and reality and calling evil good and good evil. That's what that is. That's pretending to be the friends of the LGBT when in fact they're their enemies and they're the enemies of America. That's all that is.
It's absolutely frightening. Do you think, because I see this big push, and I mean, I don't have kids yet, it's kind of making me not even want to have kids, but how you feel about the Black Lives Matter agenda and the LGBT agenda being taught in the elementary schools? Are you for that?
No, absolutely not. You know that I'm not. It is pure evil. Yeah, it's the same thing. It is pushing false propaganda, anti-Christian, anti-men, anti-children stuff. That's, the Bible says it'd be better to tie a millstone around the neck of a man than for him
lead
to
one of these little ones astray.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly. And that's exactly what they're doing. They are being pure evil. And you're right, we should not hate them, because you cannot be of love and still hate them. But it is very tempting to
disgusting to me, man. That
It
just
is.
makes me feel sick to my stomach, because, like you're saying, they're trying to flip everything upside down, and it's gonna get to a point of a new generation that don't know nothing else.
Yep.
And they're gonna follow what this is. And when people truly believe something is right, they'll stand up for it, even if they don't even know it's wrong.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, my God.
Yeah. I was talking with this 13-year-old young man who's over in another state, and he is white, I think, and he overreacted. It was me and another guy and then him. He overreacted when this other guy, this older guy who's like in his 50s or 60s, talked about out-of-wedlock births. This friend of mine who's he's Jewish, but he's living over in like Indonesia or somewhere, or Thailand, Bangkok, I think. And he's talking about these Thai guys having babies out of wedlock like crazy. And he was comparing that to the black community in America, how they're having babies out of wedlock, and the men are not like being responsible, the women kind of he didn't get touch on the women being out of control. But this 13-year-old young man, white, overreacted to that guy saying that. And I'm like, and he said I have black friends and they would be very offended by you saying that blacks are having kids out of wedlock. Not all of them are doing it. And I'm like, but they're disproportionately doing it. It's the truth. It's something
Listen, I'm
to
black,
help
and let me
people.
tell you, it's rampant.
Yeah.
It's all my cousins. And the thing is, when you tell somebody something is evil, it's important to tell them why. Because
Right.
these folks don't even understand why it's evil. Having sex out of wedlock is evil. It causes broken families, and it causes children to come up so messed up they can't hardly be helped.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just an evil thing, and it's just, oh my God, man. People
Yep.
just don't learn. You got folks out here can't even brush their dog teeth and make their bed in the morning, but they out here having kids.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and then there's guys who are like, there was an atheistic socialist caller, 22 years old, who called my show last week, Connor, who like tweeted at me, right? And he called into my show, and he was like raised middle class, well-to-do, young, upstanding black man. But then he didn't believe, he's formerly Christian. He's not super Christian anymore. And now he believes that it's okay to have sex out of wedlock as long as you do the birth control or the condoms and all those measures. It's like trying to get away with doing wrong, but without those consequences that you just named of the
Right.
kids suffering. But you're still doing
man.
wrong. You're still corrupting.
Selling people the dream, selling them half-truths,
Yep.
and then they end up messing up their life and wonder what happened. But, I know there's a God, man, that'll show you the right way if you ask him with your heart earnestly.
Yeah.
Don't just ask him just to prove, show me you're real. No, you got to honestly seek God for yourself, and he'll
That's
reveal
true.
to you the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesse's right, and you're right. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, Hake. I appreciate you taking my call, man.
Thank you, Chris.
Love the show. Love the show you're doing. You keep it on.
Appreciate it, Chris. You as well, man. We'll talk.
All right, I'll call you back another time.
Sounds good. Take care, man.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Wow. Yeah. Esteban's texting me. He said that guy Connor was very dark. And he doesn't mean skin. He means soul. Yeah, it was really evil, malicious person. And that's what is, and that is a middle class, well-raised black guy from Connecticut. I think he was from Connecticut. Well-to-do, but still just another example of that hate and out-of-control anger. That's why when Joe from Phoenix calls me and says, you're lumping in all of the blacks with the criminals, which is only a tiny percentage of the population in his mind, right? But no, the out of control people is way more than just the people who have been caught committing crimes. It is the out of control spirit. Most of us, I would dare say, are pretty out of control people. That's why Chris is right from Inglewood, California, that we have to actually like really honestly seek God. Let me get to Art in Ohio. He wants to comment about Mays and people judging people's past. Art, how are you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Fine, thank you. It's good to hear from you.
I'm all right. Hey, so check this out. I was just listening to what Mays was saying or what you were saying about so Trump, he might have messed up in the past or whatnot. He couldn't change for the better in the future. And she was basically saying no. And when she said that, that's the same problem that I seem to realize with liberals. They think that just because the agenda's pushed it, the female feminist agenda pushed don't like Trump or whatnot. They figure that anything to say against him is that's what they roll with. Just like the Black Lives Matter motto is. One of the things is to get Trump out of office, and we know what does that have to do with Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Long story short, which means in how I look at it is if what you telling me that the females are pushing is that if I don't like you, it doesn't matter whether you do something good, don't celebrate it just because we don't like you. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So, okay. So my other point is with all of this stuff as far as trying to get him up out of office these last 4 years or whatnot, it's sad that we still having the same conversation, but it has me mind boggled that how people don't see this. Long story short, y'all suicided the whole economy just because you didn't like one person, and you didn't do that to affect only Trump. You did all of this to affect the actual American people. So you weren't trying to only hurt Trump, just taking him through this.
That's a good point.
You hurt everybody else. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just like these females do when they take the men and play this little propaganda court system game. Is you're not affecting me as the man, you're affecting the kids. So you're suiciding the kid. And my thing is this: what they did with Trump, with suicide in the economy and shutting the business down, messing the schools up. Kids ain't being able to go to school, so it ain't no telling what's going on in their houses, especially in the ghettos, because they already probably ain't been eating or being treated well, and maybe might be in an abusive situation. And when they're going to school, that's keeping them out of a messed up environment. Long story short, my question is to the American people, when you have a person that has a mind like this, where they have a suicidal mind like the government in the American, the news, the mainstream news, what happens when you get on the plane with the person that's flying the plane and they have that type of mindset?
Yeah, that is so true, man. These people are so malicious. And I hear that they're all of a sudden opening up a little bit, but they're not going to give up power. And they're nasty people. And they want to bail out the people with their own money and bribe the people with their own money. It's shameful.
Yeah. Well, I was just asking you that as far as what do you do when you're on the plane with somebody that has that type of mindset?
Yeah.
Well, if I'm the passenger and you just tend to not like me and I'm just having to be on your plane, well, that means that you might crash the dang on plane.
I know.
And hurt everybody on the plane just because you don't like little old me.
People are more petty today than I think they might ever have been in America, because the culture has become so corrupt, so female and immature. People are 30, 40 years old, 50, 60, and immature. And that has been encouraged by these people who are in the government and the influential positions in the media and all that. And the women are starting to run the homes, which is the men's and the Christians' fault. And you're right. People are...
The liberal beta man's...
Yeah, go on.
The liberal beta man's fault, because it definitely ain't mine, because they can't put up... They say I smell like straight alpha male when I walk.
Well, right on. But even in your past, like, you set up stuff that you're suffering for, and that other, like your son or your daughter, I forget if you have a son or a daughter, maybe kind of continuing to suffer because of this corruption of the culture that you were born into and that you participated in your younger days.
Yeah, beta mind frame.
Yeah.
Well, check this out. Well, what about this? Well, they ain't looking at it. All of this negative and pushing the lie that they done did over the last 4 years. Now you got a suicidal mindset,
right,
with their finger over the nuclear bombs.
Yeah, I know. And Joe Biden doesn't care.
He don't. Well, they should.
He's on his way out.
They don't. Shoot. He on his way up out here, and that's what throws me off. Y'all putting these radical old people in there that's halfway, that's senile, and you want him up with his finger over the nuclear bomb?
I know.
Joe Biden?
And Nancy Pelosi second in line behind Kamala Harris. And then this other old guy who's the Senate pro tem now, a Democrat, another pro-abortion male old Democrat. He's like third in line behind Pelosi and Kamala Harris for presidency. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where it'll stop. But you're right. These people are, I mean, you see these whites and many others doing suicide attacks, and that's going to increase because it's a empty, shallow culture. People are really empty and evil today and overreactive.
You know the sad part is, I ain't gonna be like one of these liberals and complain the whole time Biden is in office. Oh well, just like I seen something that Tucker and them was saying on Fox, which I hardly watched them. But it's like, who cares, man? Oh well, people got to suffer, man. I love America and I want what's the best for America, but it's just looking like America's gonna have to suffer or whatnot. And then one more point I'm gonna make is, and see if you understand this one. So. You got a lot of these females that's going to these colleges or whatnot, and I'm not just excluding the female. Well, I am excluding the females, and I'll tell you why. Well, the females are going to these colleges or whatnot. Do you not? I can't understand how is it that the females that's going to college still has the same mind frame as the females that are not in college. You would think that when you go to college that you would morally get the mindset that, I need to come here and learn and take responsibility and this is how you further your future to make a better life for the future, allegedly. It seems like they're still stuck with the liberal ghetto fabulous mindset, and it's just crazy because that shows you that y'all going to get these so-called education and y'all still think and maneuver just like the low-hanging fruit. You see what I'm saying? The ones that are not going to these schools.
You're talking about the regular degenerate females who are not interested in all that? Yeah.
Yeah. The lawyers, like the ones that's in these schools, the doctors.
I think they're worse.
They're worse.
Yeah.
They agree, and it's crazy because the ones that went to these colleges, so-called are married, had these nice houses and had families and whatnot, but they're pushing the degeneracy in the ghettos and whatnot to where the people who they're supporting don't even have what they have. And the ghetto dummies is believing the hype that they're pushing and don't understand that they're just doing that to keep you from getting to the success that they're at.
That's
supporting your degeneracy. Go ahead, I'm listening.
That's what Black Lives Matter is. It's a bunch of college females and homosexual males pushing lies and communist propaganda on the dumb, uneducated masses. And none of them have any clue what they're talking about, whether they're educated or not.
Well, they hurting themselves because the colleges is really hurting themselves because they don't understand. If I'm seeing this or whatnot, you don't think that everybody else ain't starting to see this?
Right.
Y'all paying and getting all of this debt, and y'all are just as dumb as the people who ain't never even went to college.
And they're the ones throwing away their lives, too, because they're like lesbians and fat.
Yes, they are.
Nothing is worse for your health than being homosexual and fat and angry and blaming everybody. That's the worst thing for your life, and you're talking about Black Lives Matter. Not to you.
Hey man, to that one, brother.
Right.
But check this out. One more thing, and I'm gone. I'm gonna have to wrap this up. So all these tough rappers and stuff, man, they don't kill 13 people. They the most gangsterous. They got the most nicest. I'm talking about the new generation. Man, y'all need to cut it out, man. After y'all just sat back and let all this stuff go on with Trump and you ain't stand up and speak up for him, you're only one-sided. You only want to go against the black people, but when your white daddy who you look up to get out of line, you don't want to go try to get at him. You only want to hurt the blacks or whatnot. But when you see an injustice going on to a white person, you don't want to speak up and say nothing about that or whatnot. So my thing is this: that voids all this tough talk that you are screaming at you about. Because we already know if you was to stand up and would have said anything about Trump, they would have banned you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all this, so they only let you talk all this gangster talk about you killing the black people and all this. I'm selling this and I'm selling that or whatnot, because they want you to keep pushing that low-hanging stuff. As soon as you get out of line and act like you want to talk about somebody and something that you know, and you acting like you got a brain like me, then they want to cut you off. So all that rapping, all that NBA stuff, they basically put their foot in, and don't nobody want to see me and you and all of us that's watching this. We like to hear the real, and once we find out that you fake, we tend to shy away from you.
Right.
God bless you, Hake. I'll catch you later, man.
Thank you, Art. Appreciate it. Take care, man. Very nice. So I do have some Trovos that I'm going to try to read. Trovo.live/The Hake Report. DLive no longer monetizes me, right? Meaning you can't give me a super chat donation on DLive if you wanted to. You just can't do it. Dan East gave easy winner. Thank you, Dan East, for the Trovo, whatever these things are. Appreciate it. And I saw some others. Shaggy Boy said, I think, shenanigans. Very nice. And I see the ones. Thank you to Dark Side of the Bear What for keeping me abreast of the situation. Shaggy Boy says, bravo. Brendan M says, hype. These are weird super chats. Not that you guys are weird, just that Trovo is taking some getting used to, and it doesn't seem exactly normal that I can tell. But I appreciate that, guys. Oh, feel like I see more. Shaggy Boy gave me Rose. These are not exactly statements, and I don't think that they're letting you guys. I don't know, but thank you. Rose, isn't that communist? Shaggy Boy, are you a communist? A socialist? Yeah, that's what all the Antifa people put in their profile, is a rose. Rose City Antifa. There is supposed to be a way to do a proper super chat with a message, but we're still learning, guys. Let me just double check the Streamlabs. Thank you guys to the Streamlabs supporters, streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. So, yeah, the World Health Organization, now that Trump is out of office, the evil UN's corrupt World Health Organization, there is a magic chat menu next to the little bell at the bottom of the chat. Interesting. Let me just see if I can pull that up. Magic chat, super cap, colorful chat, spell chat, bullet screen. I don't know. I guess you guys can do magic chats. Strange. That's Trovo.live. New platforms every day, right? The World Health Organization, the evil UN's corrupt WHO, World Health Organization, changes the CCP virus, which is how the Epoch Times describes this virus or names it as the Chinese Communist Party virus, CCP. Test criteria, the virus test criteria in attempt to reduce false positives. All of a sudden, right? All of a sudden, they care about the false positives. They have Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, something like that. He's the head of the World Health Organization, and he's a communist socialist, not Ethiopian. He's not Ethiopian. He's like one of those other African country guys, though. Evil guy, total phony, pretends to be pro-woman and all that stuff. UN women, yeah. But according to Mei Ling Lee, no, I don't think he's Ethiopian. I think it's some other country. Tedros. Most Ethiopians are Christians, I think. Right, Sion? Anybody? And this guy is no Christian. He's a socialist. And I know that there's socialists who pretend like they're Christians, like Damon Garcia, right? Whom Jesse Lee Peterson interviewed on The Fallen State. Very nice interview. I may have him on. Yeah, they are. In an updated guidance published January 20th, Inauguration Day, the World Health Organization said, this is the Epoch Times, EPOCH, said that the lab experts and healthcare practitioners should also consider the patient's history and epidemiological risk factors alongside the PCR test in diagnosing the CCP virus. New guidance could result in significantly fewer daily cases. See, it was all to hurt Trump. And they're opening up again. All of a sudden, they're opening up again, letting you have a little illusion of freedom again. Maybe you can go to any of the restaurants that survived. They even shut down outdoor dining. Sleazy scum of the earth. Based on no science. Just their own version of logic in their minds. And yet they still, the same day of voting, went to go outdoor dine. Old folks, too. So PCR test is how they test for COVID, right? Supposedly. Over-reliance on it. By the way, one California resident died hours after getting the CCP virus vaccine. Not to scare you, but heads up, this stuff does happen. I don't know if it's from the vaccine. Just like we don't know if all these deaths are from the virus. They're claiming that it's over 400,000 Americans have died from the virus, or having had the virus, or with the virus, or supposedly with the virus. Who knows what the real truth is? We're hearing about morgues being overfilled, the refrigeration of bodies in LA County overfilled. I wonder how long that's actually been going on. Because they've been overfilling LA County with every illegal and immigrant and refugee, and then they've been making a bunch of babies for a long time. So I don't know what the truth is. By the way, the Mexican president tested positive for it. And there are outbreaks supposedly worsening in Beijing and Shanghai, China. I thought China had this thing under control. But what is the truth? Can you really believe the Chinese media? We don't believe the American media. What are we supposed to believe the Chinese media? Who knows what the real truth is? It's a criminal culture. What a mess. Yeah, so before I get back to, I think I'll get to Rick next. Mazie Hirono running her mouth. If you're ever not sure, like, whose side to be on, let me show you whose side not to be on, at least, right? Mazie Hirono, she's the one who said, I think she's a Hawaiian. Is she a senator or a representative? She's a Democrat, right? And she's the one who said, men, just shut up and step up and do the right thing for a change. Well, yeah, like women have been doing a good job. Not. She said, the goal is to hold Trump accountable, stop him from seeking office again. And so she was talking with this black female host on MSNBC, and it's not Joy Reid, it's Tiffany Cross, 41-year-old woman. She has some book about black voters and stuff that was published mid to late last year. She said, it's very clear we need to not only hold the president accountable through an impeachment trial, but to get on with passing a COVID relief bill, she said, like she cares about the people. Lying sleaze. She said, we all experienced a violent insurrection at the Capitol. We should stop him from ever seeking elected office again. Look at Mazie Hirono. I think she's Hawaiian or mixed with Japanese or something like that. And an evil, malicious, feminist Democrat who hates men and Americans like Trump. Maxine Waters, another piece of work. Another one whose side not to be on, right? The Wicked Witch of the West with the low IQ, as JLP calls her. Says Trump will take over legislatures, meaning state legislatures, I guess. Little towns and cities, meaning like the Democrats have done. She was on MSNBC with that guy, Jonathan Capehart, who admitted that hands up, don't shoot was a lie. Hands up, don't shoot was a lie. He wrote it back in 2015 and stood by it in another article in 2017, but he's still a racism believer. And so he's a MSNBC host, I gather. She said, he sent all of those domestic terrorists to the Capitol to take over the Capitol. Includes not only the Proud Boys, but the Oath Keepers, the QAnon, the white supremacists. This is Maxine Waters talking, who supports riots and rioters, by the way. And she supports attacks on Trump supporters. She's one of the sleaziest people that you can think of. And blacks call her, the black radical liberals, right? Auntie Maxine. I hope we take this impeachment to the Senate. The fact that he, in his campaign for re-election, he was paying the very organizers of the insurrection that took place. The names are right there. The amount of money he paid to them. It is shown in the last report. So she's going on about money. Yeah. Like Black Lives Matter wasn't paid to help try to destroy the country. We cannot afford to allow this president to leave here without being impeached. Impeach 45! Impeach 45! She was saying that before Trump even swore in, I think. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but I don't think I am. So this woman, evil, Amy Klobuchar, said more and more evidence of Trump's role in the Capitol riot is coming. There is zero evidence, but she's pretending that he sent the angry mob to the mall to invade the Capitol. Didn't try to stop it, and a police officer was killed. All of a sudden, she cares about the police officer. She made some reference to spray paint at the bottom of many of the columns. I don't know what the graffiti is supposed to be a reference to, but we saw a whole lot of Black Lives Matter graffiti all over our great Confederate heroes and our great regular American heroes and our great colonialist heroes all over the place. And those people were violent, destructive, and nasty people. Shameful, huh? Ledge Klinger gave a Trovo chat and said, testing, working, Hake? Keep it up, bud. Thank you, Ledge Klinger. Awesome. With the super chat on Trovo chat. Anyway, let me, in the last minute here, get to Rick in Hampton, Virginia. So that's who decided not to be on those females. Rick, what's up?
Love you, brother. Man, you have a good weekend?
I did. How about you?
Man, I had a good weekend. Pretty quiet, you know.
Nice.
Not doing much. Just relaxing.
Cool. So what's up? I have like less than a minute to go, or a minute 15.
Man, what you think about the Keystone Pipeline? You know, I have talked to liberals.
Yeah.
Sometimes I say stuff just to trap them. You know, I saw someone on Facebook was saying that you would have to, in order to get your stimulus check, yes, you have to take a vaccine shot. And you got to threw that up in there. And first they said, look, that's what the Republicans came up with. And I said to myself, that shows that y'all don't research nothing.
Right. They just made something up, huh? That's ridiculous.
Made something up, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'll tell me, that tell me y'all don't research. I just threw that out there.
Right.
And y'all just jumped on the Republicans and no evidence because that's just something I threw out there.
Right.
You know, and
that's interesting. Yeah, people are like that. They'll just make up stuff to pretend like they're on the right side. The Keystone Pipeline, I think it's a silly thing. I think that we should have keep on building it. All the right people are for it. All the evil people are against it. Remember, no DAPL, no Dakota Access Pipeline. I think that's may be related to this thing, or maybe it's a separate oil line that was being built. But all the Black Lives Matter people were also into this thing, pretending to be loving the Indians, because Dakota Access Pipeline supposedly went through Indian land or sacred lands or something like that.
Yeah, that's their main argument. How they're going to damage the environment.
Right.
And like I said, it's, you know, if it's going through they're going to build that pipeline that is not, the chances of it leaking is almost very hardly none to zero.
Right. Yeah.
You know, 'cause on ships I worked on pipes, they build, most time they won't leak. If they do leak, they can shut the pipeline down and repair the leak. I'm sure they're going to be paying people $30 to $40 an hour just to watch that pipeline.
Yeah.
So
I know.
You know what I'm saying? You know, they're going to be driving down and making sure it don't leak.
Yep.
You know, and
there's a whole lot of things.
that's
They don't care about the truth. They're just coming up with any excuse not to do it. They did the same thing with the wall. Oh, the wall is going to get washed away when the floods come. They can come up with solutions to deal with it. These people just don't want the good thing being done. I appreciate it, Rick. I got to run. I'm way over time. We'll talk again.
Oh, okay, James. Okay, love it. I'll hit you up tomorrow if I get a chance.
Sounds good. Take care, man. Cool. All right, Social Pariah from Denver, Colorado. I cannot get to you. He wanted to talk about hypocrisy regarding the media, Biden, Antifa, and riots. Yeah, it's just these people really don't even care that they're being so obvious, and yet they pretend like they're caring by firing one out-of-control woman here and there. But nah, they don't. They're not honest people. And it's not just bias. It's not just a liberal bias. It's outright dishonesty and deception. And that's what these people are. And they're worse than ever. And they're suicidal in some ways, as Art said. Very true. Anyway, guys, thehakereport.com for my stuff, jesseleepeterson.com for Jesse Lee Peterson's stuff, and that links to thefallenstate.tv, as well as rebuildingtheman.com. By the way, I think that we are still accepting for the rest of this month, just a few days left, the rest of this week, we are still accepting donations related to that that campaign on GoFundMe or directly through the Bond website. So you can still support that way. Appreciate that, guys. That's cool. All right, guys, take care.